Welcome to another episode of Breaking Bank. This is your host, Jack McKeag. Thanks for joining me. Welcome. If you have questions, write us. Contact at jackmckeag.com or find us on the internet on jackmckeag.com or libertyaid.org. This is a question, and bear with me as I read the question. I think what's going to happen is what happened to me is this is just going to some of these words may begin to run together, and it may seem like a completely crazy, complex, chaotic question, and how do I deal with this and so on. But what I want to show you in this extremely complex question by my answer is I want to simplify in your mind how simple my work is, okay? I think by giving you this complex question and giving you the absolute simple answer that it may clear up a lot of things in your mind about this work and how simple it is, okay? So let's hope we get there. Now, stay with me as I read this. So I'm going to take patience a minute here. But it's a good question if you can follow it. Good day, Jack. I am the partner of Christopher. We are amidst erecting a conglomerate organization/institute, law, parentheses, laws of nature-based education research and standardization, and parentheses, and business, new parentheses, plant and cannabis products and services, end parentheses, comma. Plans are in place, comma, now is the time for filing to commence commercial exchange and operation. The standard route of creating an LLC to umbrella the DBAs does not make sense after reading your literature. Agreed? Considering the ecclesiastical irrevocable trust that we currently hold, could we operate a business as a division of that trust? If so, how many divisions could we operate under this type of trust? Or how would you suggest we set up the LLC in relation to the trust? Should we erect a trust in a state like Nevada because it is DAPT? We are based in California. We are contemplating a two-company strategy, one operating and one holding. A bit down the lane, once we invest in real estate property, we will do so with a land trust and a separate business trust that would lease from the land trust, and the LLC could be the beneficiary of both trusts, potentially granting living trust to being the successor to owner of the LLC to avoid any probate. Are we on the right track? Truly appreciate any guidance you will offer. All the best to you and yours. Fantastic question. Thank you for asking that question and taking the time to do so. I want to go through that, okay? Seems very complex. The first time I read it, it was like, oh boy, this is a really complex thing. And then, after reading it, I was like, no, this is actually a good one for people to simplify what business is in so many ways in their mind. Okay. They're asking a lot of questions about business entities and naming all these trusts and LLCs and all this stuff. You can get lost in what the heck they're trying to accomplish. And they want to have cannabis and see, we have to get back to what are they trying to do? You know what I mean? Plant and cannabis products and services. Okay, that's the business. And the organization would be research, education, and standardization. Okay, first of all, you can only do one thing at once. I don't care what people say. You can't do 100 different things at one time. It's just not possible. Like, you can build a house that has a bunch of things inside of it. and you could build many houses if you were, a real estate development company, maybe something like that. Maybe it depends on how deep your pockets are, but I really kind of recommend on focusing on one thing at a time. Now, how do you define what one thing is in that complex, really long question? Let's think about the word risk to define that, okay? What you want to do in business of any kind, whether it's some, a multifaceted business like this, or whether we're just talking about daily life for, say, just anyone that has, say, I was, quote, small business and a house and a car. See, let's say you had a small, medium, large business, like in this case, whatever size business they're going for, it doesn't sound like that small, but who knows, could be huge, I don't know. No numbers were given, etc. But let's go to the everyday life, okay? Now, we want to use business entities, like a trust is a business type of an entity, corporation, right? We want to layer risk away from other risk, okay? So we're not looking to combine LLCs and trusts and all this stuff. No. I know that's popular out there on the internet, and a lot is brought up about that, but there is no reason to do that. There simply is no reason to do that. Because in my work, we're setting the person aside, right? It's not going to have assets, income, liability, nothing. It's going to have high credit, and it's not going to have anything else in its name, right? So there's really nothing really to do with the person, it's just going to sit over there. So it's may get into something, but it has nothing to give in any risk situation. Okay, it doesn't have anything to give back. So that's we set it up for a reason, because they're like, oh, this is you. It's like, no, that's a person, that's a business type. People can't go into a bank and just like open a bank, right? Bank account. You'd be like, hey, I want a bank account. They're like, oh, well, show us, the information about your business, or is it personal? Well, the person is just like a business. It has 9 numbers, Social Security or an EIN, right? It has a name. It's a business. It's not you. People are born out of women, right? They don't. Businesses are created on paper. It's not you. It's a sub-corporation. A person is a sub-corporation of the In God We Trust, doing business as USA Inc. Okay, look it up on Dun & Bradstreet, obviously. So that's the person. Okay, and so we set that aside. We don't want risk with it. We set it aside. Even if you say it's doing something, there's nothing you can get. So you're gonna stop trying to collect any money or court or anything. It has nothing to give you, and it's not me. Okay, so we set it aside. Now you're talking about these businesses in this question. Okay, because I recommend that as the first step. Okay, it's set aside. Then you get your main trust that you're going to operate, sort of like you're going to replace your person with it, right? And that should be doing sort of your, you should first of all, what does it take to get, once you get my information, you can create multiple trusts. The same information, you can create as many trusts as you want, ad infinitum, right? As many as you want, right? So what does it cost to create a new trust? However much it costs you to print the paper and to print out the PDF for a free EIN from IRS. So it doesn't cost anything to create a trust once you have my information. So you would want to layer risk away from it. So let's think about this. In the basic case of, hey, I have a house, a small business, and a car. Well, you may decide, and we're taking a simple example, so a house, a car, and a business, and none of them have any loans on them, or whatever. If you get loans, it's coming through the trust, okay? You would maybe, a house is an important asset if it's, free and clear on money. You would set that aside in its own trust. You wouldn't have anything else in that trust, nothing. A home is a significant enough asset to have it in its own trust, okay? It didn't really cost you anything to make that one trust, So that's what would do it. And the only risk associated with that trust would be associated with that home. You see, like your small business would still be operating, but it wouldn't be operating with, hey, now that asset of the home is at risk. See, that if it were in the same trust as a small business, those things would be mixed together, and we want them separated. You see, this long question was about combining and making a spaghetti mess out of all the risk. No, it's the exact opposite of what we ever want to do. You layer risk away from one another. So if something happens to the person, okay, somebody comes after the person, there's nothing to get. You have that house in one trust, okay, probably nothing's going to happen with that house. It's just sitting there, right? Not much happened. The house doesn't do much. So, but your small business may be out there operating, whatever the nature of your business is, that's in a higher risk category than a house that just sits there and doesn't do anything. You follow? You just live in it. It doesn't really engage in anything. So, and you don't want your small business risk combined with the ownership of your house. Okay, maybe, for your small business, you would definitely want your vehicle in with the small business. You're driving around, you got to drive around anyway. You're probably doing work all the time. I know I am, whatever, right? So that's where the vehicle would go. Wouldn't go in with the house, because the vehicle's out there driving around, could run into a car or whatever. Then your house is at risk, you see? So you could get a separate trust for the vehicle and a separate one for the business. So now, that was a simple example, but I want you to apply those concepts to the question, the complex question we had. Seemingly complex, right? So, to answer their questions, really, for this question, they have to go through the entire process I recommend in the mentor program, right? And we're talking about the bulletproof trust here, okay? They have one of these, or in Liberty Aid, one of these, right? Common law, irrevocable ecclesiastical trust. That's what we're talking about, okay? They have. And once you get the information, you can make as many as you want. There's no additional cost to do that. I give the information how to do this yourself. I don't, I'm not like some financial expert that wants to be there for the rest of your life. No, I teach this stuff. I give it to you in a way that you can use this for generations. You don't need my help. At the most, to troubleshoot. At the most. Or get in the mentor program and you want to become, the best on earth at this stuff for really little money. Fine, we got that too. But so let's go back, okay, to the question. Their question was, they have all these different things that they want to do for their business. That was, that's kind of like a sort of a brainstorming question to what seems like a super complex business with a lot of money at risk. I mean, if you're going to build those things with cannabis and do it all legally, I don't care where you are. That costs a lot of money. So for these people, the first thing I did was, you should give me a call and explain this, and I want to make sure I give you the right answers, so you have a lot of money at stake. But I also kind of felt like, I'm available for free too, whatever, so it felt like they didn't spend the money on the time, so maybe this is more pie in the sky stuff, which is kind of what I figured from the get-go. I don't know how much money they have or whatever, but I recommend you build the credit for whatever you're doing first and use credit instead of your own money. Why bother? Why use your own money to do this for someone else's, or be beholden to someone else with money? Like, build your credit and so on if you're going to build these businesses. I mean, all those different things they spoke of, think of the marketing and the websites and all that stuff that goes with all that, the emails and the serving of clients and the making of products and facilities, and what does all that mean? It sounds like one of the biggest undertakings on earth to me, the way they wrote it out. So what's the flaw in their question that you see from that? You see that they need a complete business plan for everything. One of my clients would have been like, hey, we wrote up a whole business plan. We did what you suggested in the way we suggested it, to do it, which is really not much to do. And this is exactly what we came up with. Everything's there, the money and so on. I can give them a snap feedback. Oh, hey, do it like this, But they haven't even thought through the question that much. You know what I mean? Because they're not like, we have this much money, we're going to start that, and we got to do this. This is the first thing that we do. It's all, we want to do all these cool things, man. That's cool. Whatever, right? But you need a plan. What are you going to do first? Like, you're not going to start, today I'm going to start all the websites, man. No, you can start a website, maybe. You can, so you need a plan. We're going to do this. And then you left out the part of how and when and where's the money going to come from and all the details of the business plan. Like, I can't be answering, super integral question to your business where whatever you decide to do with those entities, those trusts and LLC and so on, could be, they could wipe out everything that you own and all the work you do. So this is really important. The only reason I can see using an LLC is, in this case, is because they won't license a trust. And doesn't even sound to me, if you're growing cannabis somewhere, you need a license if it's a business. So you haven't even checked to see whether you can get a license for a trust to do any of the things that you're doing. So, you got to do that first. Obviously, what entities do you license over there at the cannabis, whatever you're doing at whatever state you're in? You got to find out. You got to check with them. Okay? Maybe they only give licenses to LLCs, in which case it'd be like, okay, well, that'd be a reason, So, you have to investigate that. You haven't done, it sounds like you got this huge thing you're going to start, but you haven't done any of your planning and due diligence. So those things are misaligned, and you need to line that up and get your plans together. And then, can get real specific with, I would use this trust to do this thing, this reason. I mean, if you're like, we're going to make a marijuana university and there are going to be, 10,000 people enrolled in the first year. Okay, well, you wouldn't roll that into your cannabis making business, probably. You feel me? So I have to know more details to answer these questions specifically, but the general part is to layer risk away from other parts of the business. That's the way to do it. That's the way it's always done. Like, for example, if you look up Equifax, and try and sue them, you're going to find, like, all these Equifaxes. It's like, who do you sue? What do you do? It's a mess on purpose. They don't want to get sued. They don't want anybody to win against them or any of that stuff. You see, so you set up business entities based on your exact business plan, and I don't know what that is. I just don't know. You haven't given me enough data, but I did want to do this in an overview so that people really get a much more clear understanding of what we're talking about here. So it's a good question. If you want to get more specific about that question, write us again with more information or get some of my time. Happy to help you out. Sounds like it's a great business. Sounds like you'll be serving a lot of people, helping them. That's great. I just want to make sure you do it the right way so you don't lose anything, and you don't put your current assets at risk in the process, or as little of them as possible. Okay? That's the main thing. You want to start a business and so on, it's a lot cheaper and less risky to use, credit to do it. Then you don't really have much at risk now, do you? You see? So that's a great way to learn. Okay, I messed up, it didn't work, so what? Do it the way you meant to do it. Now you have the experience, That's why you don't throw everything down and hope it goes well. No. Okay? Great question. I hope that clears up information about risk. Okay? Okay. God bless your success.